with you. It is going to be a massive game changer. So I am so honored to have you sharing this space with me, to have you here up inside the Crown Yourself universe. And let us begin. So let me share with you. It is going to be a massive game changer. So I am so There you go. All right, let's begin. I'm going to share my screen with you. Only host. Yes, only host can share screen. All right. Remove this little fella. There we go. Welcome to How to Shift from 5 Figures to 6 Figures Without Burnout. So first of all, before we begin any and all of this, I do want to let you know that your results in this masterclass and in life depend entirely on you. I offer no professional, legal, medical, psychological, or financial advice. These results are based on both my own personal experiences and my experiences working with 5, 6, and 7-figure clients. So any forward-looking statements outlined in this masterclass are simply our opinion and are not guarantees of promises of actual performance. Your level of success in attaining similar results is dependent upon a number of facts, including your skill, education, knowledge, ability, dedication, ambition, health, network, and financial situation, to name a few. So there is no professional, legal, medical, or psychological or financial advice being given here. Take this all, and with that disclaimer said, let's begin. So why are we all here? We're here to get you to 6 figures, duh. Like, why else would you have clicked on jumping into this webinar? So by the end of this masterclass, you will have a clear roadmap of the 13 shifts that every 6-figure entrepreneur has made in both their mindset and their habits to shift from 5 figures into 6 figures. And I want to promise you that you got this. So we're going to be diving deep. We're going to be going into 13 mindset shifts. I am so honored to have you here with me. So let's begin. And if you stick around to the very end, if you stick around and you let me know and you type into the chat box at the end of this webinar, your email, you will get my $97 Sparkle on Social Media course for free. This is 5 hours of how to sell, how to message, how to promote yourself on the interwebs in the way that you stand out separate from anybody else or any other brand or what any other person is doing. And you do it 100% authentic and unique to how you desire to show up. So stick around to the end and you will get that gift. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. I'm going to move this little guy again. First of all, turn your phone off. My phone is off. It is turned over. Actually, this is my little trick. I turn it over onto my desk. And so that way, even if a notification pops up, my sound is off. I don't even get to see it. Lovable distractions in the other room. Currently, my husband and my son are away and I think they're watching Cars 2. And then last one, turn off your email, your Slack, your social media, all of it. Just turn it off, be really present, and let's take a couple of deep breaths together to just ground into this class, to ground into being present here. Let's begin, shall we? So at the end of this, at the very end of this class, you are going to drop your email in the comments to get your gift. And after totally loving this class, I will give you an opportunity to scale your business 150% in the next 12 months. How does that sound? 150% in the next 12 months. So with that being said, let's get started. Who's this? Who's this lady? Who is this woman? So hello, for those of you who are new here, for those of you who are new to meeting me, I am Kimberly Spencer. I am a certified high performance coach. I am an Amazon bestselling co-author. I am a digital nomad currently living the laptop lifestyle. My husband was appearing at a convention here back in March in Australia in the Gold Coast. And we just decided to stay because that's what having a beautiful 6-figure digital nomad virtual business can do for you. I'm a mompreneur. I have a gorgeous little toddler, and I am an absolute warrior for possibility. Most of my clients, after working with me, at the very end, they always go to like, did you think this was possible for me? Like one of my clients who just told me last year when we started working together that he wanted to buy a plane. He's now bought the plane. He's now got it reserved, and he's signing the deed to it like next week. So like when he told me, like, if you had told me that that would be possible, holy moly, like I would not have believed that I would have thought you were crazy saying that that would be possible within a year. Look at what happens. Like my life has radically changed within the past year, moving to Australia, living in a foreign country, moving away from all of my current family and friends, making new friends, and living just in a resort that is just glorious. I've been seen in a few places. I've been seen in Forbes. You can find me on Netflix. You can find me in Thrive Global and in CNBC. And I will tell you about that CNBC article in just a little bit. So these are a few people that I've worked with. So like my client, Jessica, after working with me, she closed over $554,000 in sales and got engaged. Sales and relationships are so intertwined. And like another one of my clients, since launching his business, turned over $500,000 in profits, and now has his company paying the running cost of his $100,000 car. He gave himself a 30% raise. He's blocked out just for privacy reasons because he asked me to. And so I always ask that of my clients if they're cool with me sharing his numbers. So as long as his name wasn't mentioned. And then a few of my other clients, massive t-shirt sales going down. Meredith, who just crushed it out of the park during COVID, her entire industry shut down as a executive producer, and she created multiple projects within the span of just a few short months and got I think she got like 2 greenlit, and she just is not an entrepreneur in a traditional sense, because I work with all different types of entrepreneurs, not just coaches or health coaches, or I'm not a coach who just coaches coaches. I coach a lot of different industries. Like my client, Jennifer, she's a naturopathic doctor, game changer. So I am so excited to have been able to work with these people to be able to help them grow their business. Like my client, Kala, she landed a contract with the biggest fashion brand in the world. We cannot name who that is, but it definitely, I have a few of their bags. And she hired her first team member, and she shifted her business outlook to one of long-term success and forward motion. So you don't care about that though. You want the roadmap, right? So how do you shift from broke and flatlining into 6 figures? I got you, boo. What we're doing together today is we are going to walk you through the exact 13 mindset shifts that will move you from struggling and stuck to 6 figures. So there are 13 steps that will get you there. And so we're going to address every single one of the gaps between a 5-figure thinker and a 6-figure thinker. And that is one of my skill sets as a high performance coach, is I notice patterns. And so having worked with 5, 6, and 7-figure entrepreneurs, I have seen a shift in thinking between the 5-figure entrepreneurs and the 6-figure entrepreneurs. And unless 5-figure entrepreneurs are able to make those mindset shifts, they will stay stuck. So I want you to thrive. I want you to scale. I want you to be able to live your dream and live wherever you want. And so that is why we're diving into these mindset shifts. So at the very end, if you are like, want to grow your biz 150% in the next 12 months, then stay tuned till the end. And if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, queen, then definitely stay tuned until the end. All right. So what most people think it takes in order to get to 6 figures is research. Like they feel like they got to do a lot of research. So they spiral down the Google and the YouTube rabbit hole, and they go Googling until their eyes fall out. And they look at all these different strategies and have all these different things, because YouTube can YouTube pretty much anything. And so you'll have Instagram strategies and funnel building strategies and client generation strategies and all of these things that they just start trying and dabbling and doing all these things and maybe kind of doing all of them, but they're not 100% like actually doing them. I'm going to show you what the difference is between 5-figure thinkers when it comes to research and 6 figures. Number 2 is they're doing everything. Typically, they are multitasking and they are multi-passionate. So just because you can do something in your business doesn't mean that you should be doing something in your business. So they multitask, they rebrand. Oh, it's shiny. And they're doing all the things on all the time, and they hustle, do more, busy constantly, and they brag about it too. And then there's the third type of what a lot of people think it takes, of like, let me just manifest it. Now, I am a manifesting, like, love of manifestation, totally believe in the law of attraction. Yes, you can manifest it. And there's a part of the law of attraction where action is actually in the word of law of attraction. So you cannot journal and vision board your way to six figures. You have to take specific action, specific aligned action, to be able to get there. You can't it's not about just sitting in the dream car or just meditating all day until you get there. It's not about reading all the books. So I always recommend reading all the books, but like it is about taking very specific aligned steps and action steps to get there. So you can manifest it, but manifestation requires specific action steps that aren't the more woo-woo spiritual stuff of like, let me just journal all day. Let me just meditate all day on this. Let me just like heal my energy. Yes, do that. Yes, manifest. Yes, focus on the vision and take the aligned action. And I'm going to show you what those are today. So here's where I started. I too was multi-passionate AF, like totally multi-passionate. I was a award-winning produced screenwriter. This was the first film that I ever co-wrote. It starred Danny Trejo. I was a pageant girl. I had all of these passions. I was a Pilates instructor. I had my own private Pilates studio for 8 years, and I was a Pilates instructor for 13 years. I was an actor and a model, and I did all the things. I was doing all the things. And then eventually I had this opportunity because of my Pilates background and because of my storytelling background and because of my business acumen, because I'd had a Pilates studio, I had the opportunity to jump into an e-commerce company. Now, because I was soon, after 2 years of being with this e-commerce company, I was bought out. That's why the image of the company product, and it is all pixelated, but I was the president, and we were able to get our product featured in Times Square. It was a really fun time being a part of that company, taking a product to market, taking a product and developing a market for it, pitching it to the first round of Shark Tank auditions. And it was really a fabulous time until 3 weeks before I got married. I ended up being bought out. So the summer before, I had 3 months. For the first time ever in my life, I was dealing with lawyers. And lawyers don't always send you the kindest, most loving messages on the planet. It was the first time in my life that I'd ever had my integrity called into question, my capability, my qualifications, my history, my past, my truth, everything. And so 3 weeks before I got married, because I decided not to continue on with the legal negotiations during my honeymoon, I signed the buyout agreement and went off with my buyout check like, hey, and went to Italy. And it was in Italy where I actually came up with the idea for Crown Yourself. I was sitting on the couch with my husband. We'd had way too many espressos. And I just suddenly, I was thinking of all the things I wanted to do. Because remember, I was super multi-passionate. I was in pageants. I was, a performer. I was a writer. I loved health. I loved fitness. I'd figured out relationships. I'd done business in a $250,000 company for 2 years. Like I had a pretty well-rounded, multi-passionate vision for my life. And I jumped off the couch and I said, Crown Yourself. And that's what my company name became. The problem was after I went through that buyout, it was the first time in my life where I had ever had truly crushing self-worth issues and self-doubt. And every step I took, I questioned, and I had so much fear around it. So I followed the Titanic principle of business, which I'm going to share with you what that is. Please do not do it. I was doing all the things. I was doing the photo shoots. I was doing the branding. I was hiring the pros. I hired a logo designer. I hired a website designer. I got a fancy website. I got a blog. I posted stuff on the interwebs. I made some quotes. I talked about my business and how awesome it would really be when I finally got to this thing, this place where I arrived. Look at how happy I was. Like, look at how joyous I was. Gorgeous photos. Look at these. Oh, beautiful. Doing all the things, even the vision board. Even had the vision board. Problem was, I had massive imposter syndrome. I had such bad imposter syndrome that this was my old Pilates studio that I owned, that was mine. I took a second job teaching Pilates because I didn't even believe in my own capability to run a business. That's how much that losing my e-commerce company crushed me, like completely crushed me. And so I had to build myself back up. And so I did what was simple and easy for me. And I started teaching more Pilates. I didn't even believe in my own Pilates studio business enough to just go full-time with that. I was so scared to go all in on me. And so what happened is in a Titanic business, it looks really pretty on the outside. It looks reasonably successful even on the outside. It has the capability of moving really well, but its leadership sucks, AKA that's filled with a lot of pride, and can also be a lot of like bruised egos, which mine was. And because of that, it's headed straight for an iceberg. So what happened with spending all that money on all those things, I ended up $35,000 in debt with a business that made $15 in 1 year. $15 in 1 year. And I will I'll circle back to this $15 example because that was so powerful for me, because that moment when I realized that, I was like, holy crap. So, and what it was that I sold this Pilates pocket guide PDF. And I sold that. I was happy I sold it. Though I was just on a training with my Revolutionary Empire builders, and I told them, I said, I actually can't remember if somebody bought that or if I actually bought that as a tester, like to make sure the funnel worked. So that $15 may have been $0. Either way, it's pretty darn close to zero. But then what happened, fast forward into this time, right around this time, you see when that spike happened? Well, I got spiked with a baby. And no longer was chronically under earning going to work for me. Crown Yourself, I knew Crown Yourself was the business I wanted to be in. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I could serve people. I knew I could help people transform their stories. I knew I could help them reach the next level of income and impact in their lives. I knew I could do this. I just didn't know how. But once I found out I was pregnant, I was all out of excuses. So let me know, have you ever been there to that point where you're just like, there's no going back from this. There's no turnaround. Like for me, that was the universe smacking me in the gut with a non-negotiable that this either works or you're done. Like that was it. Because I knew I did not like who I was. I did not like the complainy, blamey mindset that I was stuck in, blaming my former business partner, blaming myself, complaining about how business was going, always being on my computer and yet barely making a single dollar. Fortunately, I did have my Pilates business that was supporting me, but still I was like $15, really? That mindset, I knew I had to shift it. And so that was such a turning point, finding out I was pregnant. And so what happened was I got a coach, I got a process, and I started getting sales. So I realized I took the $35,000 I was in debt. I added an extra $5,000 to that to get some coaching because it was most money I'd ever dropped in personal or business development. And it scared the crap out of me because I was like, okay, I know I'm not making any money, but it was right around the same time that I made that $15 because I got a process. And the process that I got was I got certified in NLP, I got certified in timeline therapy, and I got certified in hypnosis. And that was when, just like when I got certified in Pilates, I knew I could sell a process. Prior to that, I was making the big mistake that a lot of 5-figure under earners make. And I will share with you what that is in a bit. So I was able to sell the process, and it was through being able to have a process to sell that I could sell the transformation. So I started putting myself out there. I started putting myself out there as a coach. I pitched myself on gig sites, which is actually how I got featured in the CNBC article, because I went from being a gig worker to now owning a multi-six-figure business, because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do, but pitching myself out on gig sites, it got me clients. And so those were my first very steps. Those were my baby steps that I did. And I was happy because I got my first $2,000 client, and then I got another, and then I got a couple more sales, and then I launched a small group program. And so then I got a couple more sales. So I was starting to see a little bit of momentum and at least a little bit of income coming in from this business that I'd spent 2 years really just dabbling in. I mean, my husband and I had a joke that I couldn't watch a Netflix show without being on my computer back in like 2015, 2016. And I literally have no idea what I was doing all that time. But then I had the baby. So there's Decky. There's so cute. He was a little peanut. And there I am on my computer, basically where I built my business from the corner of my couch. The problem is that with having a baby, I was really struggling with my mindset postpartum. I was struggling with balancing hormones, with rebalancing myself. I had massive scarcity, and I had massive fear, because now it was real. Now providing for my family was a real thing. Like, it wasn't just like he was inside of me and only I could eat. Like, I needed to feed him. I needed to clothe him. I needed to care for him. Problem was, I still felt scattered. I had this massive brain fog, and I constantly felt like I wasn't doing enough. I had enrolled in another program to support me, and it just seemed like nothing was working. It didn't seem like any of the stuff I was doing was working to bring me more clients. And I felt really, really stuck, and patience is just not my virtue. So what happened was, I was spending a lot of money on doing all these things. So I was doing a lot of more pretty things, because that's what my next coach had recommended. It's like doing the photo shoots and doing, buying the website and building that and retooling that. And I thought, I need to spend money to make money, because it's important to invest in myself. And, by investing in myself, then suddenly that's like my money mindset. That's me being able to show that I value myself. But I was having a lot of money in and a lot of money out. And sometimes there were many months that I was actually in the red, and I was really struggling with balancing it all. Because who doesn't have time to focus on non-income generating bullshit activities? Parents of babies. Parents of babies do not have time to focus on things that are not directly impacting income. And we will get into what that is today. And so thank God I got perspective. I got a bit more clarity. I got a different coach, and I got my first $1,000 client. And then I got my first $10,000 client. And then I had my first $13,000 month. And I started investing heavily in coaching and certifications and focusing on my money mindset. I was still investing more money than I was making. But after I had my first $13,000 month back in 2018, that was when I suddenly realized that the cash flow stopped. And I was wondering why that was. I'd been building up some income. I knew I was like hitting 5 figures at least, and I was happy about that, but the cash flow stopped. And I was like, whoa, what's up? And that's when I started really paying attention to the difference between what 5-figure business owners were doing and what 6-figure business owners were doing. And I noticed the big difference is, for me, with my own mindset, I'd never made money in the past with either of my 2 businesses, either my Pilates studio or my e-commerce business, by focusing on making money. I'd focused on service, on being of the highest and greatest service. And how I learned that service really shows up is I fell in love with the sales process. I started to sell like a queen. I fell absolutely madly in love with sales. And I started I stopped focusing on all the stuff to make my business look good. And I started instead focusing on all the things that made my business feel good. I didn't do another photo shoot for like 2 years. I was like, no, we're done with the photo shoots. We're done with the prettiness. We're done with making it look good on Instagram, but really I'm feeling broke AF. Like, I was done with that. And instead I focused on how can I make my clients feel good, like really good, and give them really good transformative results, which came from selling my services. And so I was so happy when I just connected the dots that the real transformation comes from selling consistently, daily, regularly, and being in it and being in those sales conversations. So I fell in love with the sales process, and I fell back in love with service, which is what it's really all about anyways. And obviously I figured it out. So now we're here. Now we're here in the Gold Coast. This was me in our first Airbnb. Now we're in a second, looking to grab a full-time apartment. And we just decided to live here now for the next 2 years because we just love it here so much. And business is going awesome. So we were able to thrive and be here. So what I learned is, in order to become the queen bee of your business, is you need real freedom, both of your mindset, your authenticity, really bringing all of who you are, not who people said you should be or how you should show up online or what you should do, really finding your own unique process, being of service, and then leading. So the freedom is not only we've been able to grab an Airbnb on the Gold Coast for months during a worldwide pandemic, that's freedom, but I've also achieved mental freedom from that fear of scarcity, from that fear of like, oh, it's not going to work out. I'm like, no, it is working out. It has worked out. It's worked out many times. It's going to continue to work out. Authenticity, being able to stand out and own all of that you are, own all your mistakes, own people please. Like I now own the fact that I made $15 in my first year in business. So sad with Crown Yourself, not my past businesses, but damn, like that's a rocky start, but you got to own it. I'm no longer people pleasing. And by no longer people pleasing, I am inspiring my community to step into their power, to claim all that they are, to show up boldly, to show up fearlessly, and to fully own who they are. Service, like that's so powerful. I've been able to provide not only service for my community and my clients, of being able to help them double their income or increase or double their sales in the next 3 months, but being of service to my family. Like I'm able to provide and serve my clients and my community of over 250,000 people across all platforms. Like that's pretty extraordinary. And I'm able to provide a service to my team. I'm able to provide them with a life, with them with jobs. I'm also being able to be a leader. Like by becoming the queen of your business, you get to become this leader for other people's purposes. You get to guide other people along the way. We do not do this journey alone. In fact, we do it together. And by doing it together, we are stronger together to rise. And because a rising tide just lifts all boats. So continuing to lift other people up, continuing to support each other, continuing to know that by being successful, you are actually being of service to more people. And it's just picked a few pictures of what it looks like. So Gold Coast and rocking out with my authenticity and being able to be of service to my son who's on his phone and my husband, and being able to serve just amazing clients who I absolutely adore. Now, the process that I discovered, and this was the system that absolutely saved everything, was focusing on 6 things in my business, not 25,000, 6. Mindset, skill set, systems, branding, marketing, and sales. So with mindset, I was focusing on ownership. No longer was I doing the blame game, blaming others, blaming myself, finding my freedom, finding my values, my vision, my beliefs, the beliefs of what do I have? What are the beliefs that you're really carrying around about your business being successful? The skill set, I had to learn the skill set of leadership, of team management, of finances, of creativity, of discipline, of the discipline of actually doing the right work that actually gets you the real results. Systems, I had to learn how to build systems, automation systems, people systems. How do I deal with customers? What are the systems and the processes that we have in place now? How do I deal with the system of having a team? Branding. And now branding is not just about like looking really good on Instagram. Branding really is about being authentic and in alignment with what it is that your brand is preaching. So if my brand is preaching ownership and authenticity, I better be showing up authentic, owning my results, owning my mistakes as well, and being congruent with that. marketing about messaging and connecting and communicating. So not just about like, let me be on all the platforms at all the times. It's like, how am I really connecting? How am I really serving through my message and through my communication? And then sales, how am I really being of the highest service to others? What money mindset, influence, and investing? What are the investments that you're making in yourself, both the investments of time and the investments of money? This process changed everything. Focusing on these 6 things was a game changer. So now let's dive into the mindset shifts that had to be made both for myself and for my clients to move them to 6 figures and beyond. It is your mindset that ripples into every action, every habit you have, and that produce the results that you create. So let's just go to the source instead of just telling you all these things to do and not do. This is just going to the root of mindset. And what are these shifts that need to be made? Number one, busy versus productive. So 5-figure entrepreneurs are busy. They're busy all the time. They'll tell you about how busy they are. They will constantly brag about how busy they are. They will book rag, as this says. There is a pride in this hard work. There is a pride in this struggle and the hustle. And now I'm not saying that the hustle won't get you to 6 figures. It will in time. But more often than not, you're burnt out by the time you get there. You're burnt out and you'll feel like you don't want to respond to people. You'll feel like you want to hide. You'll feel like you'll just want to like go Netflix binge. Like you're burnt out by the time that you get there. So you can do it and by being just busy. But 6-figure entrepreneurs, they're effective. They know, they put their heads down, they do the freaking work. They know what the work is that brings in results, and they have non-negotiables around their time. So a non-negotiable that I created early on after my son was born was play dates. Was play dates between him and I, going for a walk, going out to the park, going to lunch. Like we made it, it is a non-negotiable for my day that we do something together, just he and I, or us as a family. But we do, like, that is a non-negotiable for me. It is set in stone, because that really is freedom right there. That's freedom. Here's the thing. You do not get extra credit for suffering, period. That is the suffering, the struggle, the stuff is a story. It is a story of hard work that you are putting on yourself. And normally it is plagiarized programming. So it's programming that you have adopted from other people. Now, I am not saying that there is not work to be done. There is work to be done. It is a choice to make it suffering. It is a choice to make it a struggle. So it's just kind of like with yoga. If you go to a yoga class and your body's feeling really run down, but you're like, no, I'm doing my yoga, I'm going to push. And you're pushing into that like plank pose, but your shoulders screaming at you. What happens is that it ends up causing even greater pain down the road. You do not get extra credit for suffering. It would have been better and more proactive in the long term for you to show up to the class, do what you could for that day to the best of your ability, and surrender the desire to have it be this push force thing. Because what happens when you try to push or force or control anything, which creates greater suffering, is it resists you. It resists. So you don't get extra credit for suffering. It really isn't a story that actually works. And I haven't seen it work in any of my clients. But you do put your head down and do the work. So therein lies the paradox. Where are you suffering to get extra credit? And a lot of type A's, hey, I'm right there with you. Like, I thought the suffering was mandatory. I thought the suffering and the struggle and the hardship and the pain and all that was mandatory. It's not. It's not. It's so much more liberating when you take that pressure off, that it's a requirement to suffer, and you don't get extra credit for it. So instead, put your head down, do the work, and do it with as much ease as possible. Number 2, small versus big. 5-figure entrepreneurs tend to start small. They start selling small products, small courses, small memberships, small offers, small books, small. You see small. Samalal. Samalal. See, perfectionism is highly overrated. I am a walking testament to that. So 5-figure entrepreneurs, they start small. So they're selling these small things. So let's say you're selling, I don't know, soap. One of my clients was a soap maker. And so she would sell a bar of soap. And so after working together, we said, how could you package that into a bigger thing? What else could you do to create more value so you increase the value that you're giving with that package? So it's not just, a $15 bar of soap that takes you hours upon end to make, or that takes, or a hair product or whatever, but you're able to sell that thing and then have more value on it. Now, the value it's entirely in the perception of the customer. So the question is, how do you add more value? 6-figure entrepreneurs, they start big. So they focus on big ticket clients, big packages, big prices, aim for the big leagues. They do not apologize. They do not try starting small. Why? Because it is very hard to hit a monthly freedom metric, meaning a monthly number that you are comfortable with, like $8,333 or more, meaning once you hit $8,333 or more, you're making 6 figures. They focus on doing it big so that they can hit that freedom metric faster, and then they work down small. Number 3, scarcity versus service. So 5-figure entrepreneurs tend to have a scarcity fear in selling. They have self-limiting beliefs that prevent them from charging or cause them to lowball price points. So there is a fear of selling, and this comes down to another one that we'll address later on around the desire to be liked. So there's a fear that people won't like you if you sell them higher ticket things. Like it's a money mindset block. 6-figure entrepreneurs, they know that you serve through selling. So they understand that when you make more money, you serve more people. And when you sell something for money, people value it more. That is the key. So I want you to think on this for a hot second. Remember that free goodie bag. So we've all been to a convention back in the ye olden days when we all could go to conventions and gather accordingly. So when we were at a convention, gathering accordingly, we had that free goodie bag. Sponsors put things in it and we get that free goodie bag. Now I'm going to ask you, and I bet I'm going to ask all of you, do you have that goodie bag next to your nightstand? Like, did you take it home? And we were like, oh my God, honey, look at this goodie bag. Look at what we got. This is a winner. And you put it next to your nightstand, next to where you put your wedding ring, because it's so valuable for you. It was just so valuable. Yeah, baby, that one. No, of course not. Probably some of that stuff from the goodie bag you toss in the trash. Some of that goodie bag, maybe if it was like makeup or something, you're like, maybe I could re-gift this, and you add it to the re-gifting pile. Maybe one thing you might use, and you're like, that's nice, but you probably didn't go back and buy it. Odds are 90% of the time that I've asked this question, most people are like, I didn't really go back and use those products. I just, appreciated that it was free, and then it was, there it was there. So that's the thing. That's the thing about free products, is that people don't value something that they have not put in time or money into. If they have not put time or money into it, they will not value it, period. Number 4, impact versus sales. Now, this is a pyramid from one of my mentors' books, Fix This First by Mike Malkowitz. And 5-figure entrepreneurs, they focus way up here on legacy and impact, on adding value, on creating lots of free stuff, more content production, more free stuff, more discounting, more free services. And normally it comes from the need to be liked. They're looking to create that impact on a person, but really on a subconscious level, more often than not, it's coming from this desire and this need to be liked. And that's really not where sales are. That's not really where actual value comes in. 6-figure entrepreneurs, on the other hand, they focus on sales. They're right here, focusing on the bottom pyramid. And then they start focusing on profit. They sell first, they sell a lot, they sell regularly, they focus on growing a business and not being liked. Of course, they want to be liked. Of course, I love being liked by my customers, but I know my customers value me because I tell them like it is. I don't tell them what they want to hear all the time. I tell them what they need to hear. And that's why they pay me. So focus on growing a business and not being liked. Not everyone is going to like you, and that is okay. People will value you and respect you when you own your worth and you charge accordingly for it. So do that. Number 5, pride versus purpose. So more often than not, 5-figure, and I'm not saying this isn't always, but more often than not, what I have seen from coaching 5 and 6-figure and 7-figure entrepreneurs is 5-figure entrepreneurs, they post to post. They post with the intention of what they'll say is adding value. They'll post to show how awesome they are. They'll post to show, to share things that are value and to show how much they know. But 6-figure entrepreneurs, they do it with a little bit of a different intention. They do it with the intention to drive traffic to their website, to drive sales, and to build a community. Why building a community? Because when you have a community, then you have people that you can sell to. They are in your kingdom. They are in your wheelhouse. They are in your space. So their intention is to sell like a mofo because they know that real value actually comes from an investment of either time or money or both. So people will see the nice, things on Instagram and click. They may like it. They may even leave a comment. But unless you're actively driving that traffic, building that community, or building those sales or asking for that sale, it's a lot of times adding more noise to the noise. And it's already pretty noisy out there. So the goal is to, how do you post in order to drive traffic, drive sales, and build that community? Number 6, 5-figure entrepreneurs, they sell themselves, not like a prostitute, but they sell themselves and their own self-worth. And 6-figure entrepreneurs, they sell a process. So this was one of the big things that I didn't realize I learned in sales early on when I was 19 and started teaching Pilates, and then ended up having my own private Pilates studio. What I had was a process of Pilates, because back when I was 19, I was a hot mess all through the early 20s. But the thing was, I became, within the first year of working at a studio, I became the highest paid, youngest, and most fully booked instructor. And I was like, I wonder why. Well, why? Was because I was very confident with selling the process that produced results. And the process I was selling back then was Pilates. The process that I sell now is a process of Queen Bee coaching, of guiding people through mindset, skill set, systems, branding, marketing, sales into their greater vision and into a doubling of their income. The thing is that the mistake that I made early on in my coaching business was I was selling myself. I was not selling myself like a prostitute. I was selling my self-worth. And my self-worth back then was, quite frankly, shit. It was low. I didn't know I had a process. I didn't know I had a process that produced results. And so I was kind of winging it. And I also mixed up my identity with it. And so I was mixing in, when I was selling, it was a me thing. It wasn't a service thing. It was about me and what I could do for them instead of what my process could do for them. Sell your process and you'll make far more income. Number seven, 5-figure entrepreneurs work forwards. They work forwards. 6-figure entrepreneurs, they work backwards. So 5-figure entrepreneurs, what I mean by working forwards is they spend hours upon hours creating before they ever even know if anybody wants their thing. Remember my little Pilates pocket guide? So that Pilates pocket guide, granted, I'm very proud of myself for making the initial effort and learning how to build a funnel. It was a good learning lesson. Nobody wanted it. $15. Nobody wanted it. Why? Because you could watch Pilates videos on YouTube. Why? Because that guide was, I didn't know my audience didn't like to read things. Like, they prefer to listen and watch things. So that Pilates guide, I created it because I was looking for something to sell. I didn't have a process to sell anything. So I took the only process that I knew, which was Pilates back then. And I spent hours and hours creating this guide in like Word, and then spent even more hours and hours figuring out my CRM system, figuring out how to build a funnel, figuring out how to add landing pages, figuring out how to do the thank you pages and the upsells and the cross sells and how to do that. $15 in 1 year later. Nada. Six-figure entrepreneurs, they work backwards. So they ask, they align with their audience, they understand what their audience needs, wants, desires, and fears, and then they create from there. Normally, what your audience needs, wants, desires, and fears is something you've experienced. We've all experienced the same human emotions. Emotions are the language of everybody. So we all have experienced to some degree the same emotions. So a six-figure entrepreneur asks and aligns with their audience. They make sure that the offer aligns with their audience. They understand what the audience needs, wants, and desires and fears, and then they create from there. And then they go from there. So I've had this happen with so many coaches who start summits, and they work forwards and they build their summits and they do the thing, and then they're surprised that the few people are signing up for their summit, even though they've gotten these great guest speakers and whatnot. And it's because they're working forwards. They're not really working backwards, asking what their list actually wants. Does their list actually want a summit? Like, I was just on one 2 months ago, and her list actually did want a summit. So she asked them, and her list was like, yeah, please bring it back. We love the guest speakers from last year. So she invited me back, and I got to speak, and it was great, but it was because she asked her list initially. Number 8, five-figure entrepreneurs, they track calories. They track every little thing, all the things. They tick off all the boxes. They have 13 things on their priority list, which is not a list of priorities, and they do anything to make them feel busy. So they think they're constantly ticking off these boxes and doing things to make them feel more busy than they actually are. Six-figure entrepreneurs, they will actually track their KPIs. They know, and what a KPI is a key performance indicator. They know the things that actually move the needle when it comes to sales. And they track them weekly, if not daily. So they're tracking, they're looking at their numbers. They're looking at, how can I grow this? How can I make this better? How can I do this? How can we expand on this? They look at what is making money. How can you double down on doing that? Number 9, research versus results. So five-figure entrepreneurs will fall down that research rabbit hole. They get stuck on the how. They Google all the steps. They'll research and watch how other people are doing things, but they hold back on actually taking that action. They'll delay on taking that action. And that's one of the key things that I have noticed between 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs is they take action fast. There's a speed of implementation that is one of the greatest things that you can take action on. And 5-figure entrepreneurs typically will delay on doing the thing that actually serves them and grows them because of whatever reason. 6-figure entrepreneurs, they take the action, they pivot, and they adapt accordingly. They seek clarity from those who have had experience in that area, and then they get more results, and then their results allow for greater research. How this works. You have action right here. You take action, you get results. Results create actual data, not fake data, I'm not talking about like fake data, like other people's data is fake, but not data that doesn't pertain to your audience. Because here's the thing, even though my system might work for me and my audience, and somebody else's system might work for them and their audience, you will attract a different audience for your stuff. Because you attract a different audience for your stuff, then your actions may be different than mine. Your actions may produce different results, and thus may produce different data. So the goal is to do different actions. It's not try a whole bunch of different actions. It's to do different actions. Do an action, get a result, get some data back. Again, take an action, get a result, get data back. And then continually work from there, continually go through that process over and over and over. That is how you actually get real research instead of what somebody else's business is doing that kind of sort of worked for them, or that really, really worked for them, but it may be different for your audience. It may work differently for your audience. So just know that. Feelings versus disciplines is one of my favorites. So 5-figure entrepreneurs will typically do things when they feel like it. They market. See, typos are just not We're just different. They market when they feel like it. They sell when they feel like it. They raise their prices when they feel they are ready. 6-figure entrepreneurs, they just effing do it. They do it daily. Like I have a rule in my business that if I'm closing too many sales, I automatically raise my prices again. Like if we're closing too often, too much for high ticket sales, I raise the price. I'm like, oh, that's too low. That's too cheap. So now I think we're at $39,000 for private coaching. So that's very exciting for me, but I just did it. Like I just said, okay, I'm closing so many that might as well just raise it again. It must be too easy. Number 11, competence versus genius. Now this is a big one. This is a big one, big one. So 5-figure entrepreneurs will spend 60 to 80% of their time in their zone of competence. They're doing all the things that they're competent in. They're posting, they're scheduling, they're speaking, their sales, their website, their email marketing, their list building. They're doing all the things that they are competent in. 6-figure entrepreneurs, they're spending 40 to 60% of time in their zone of genius. So I know that this one's going to require a little bit of math, but if you take 60 to 80% in zone of competence, that means that either 20 to 40% is actually being spent in their zone of genius, or there's actually a zone in between zone of competence and zone of genius, which is zone of excellence. So the zone of excellence is the area where you're very good at it. You're probably praised by many people for it, but it's not your area of genius. So it's not like, for example, to give you an example, my husband is an amazing relationship coach. Like relationships and communication, that's his genius zone. He's an amazing voice actor. Like he is naturally a creative human being. His zone of excellence, though, is doing it for Japanese dubbing. That's where he's best known for. His zone of excellence, he can expertly and excellently do sound bites and voices dubbing Japanese anime. His zone of genius is the real creative genius that comes from either the creative conversations that he has with coaching or the creativity that comes from original animation and that creative genius that plays in that space. When he's just given things to say that are just kind of like, oh, just say these nice words. He's an expert speaker. He's spoken for Fortune 500 companies, but they just gave him the words to say and he just makes them sound good. But when he's really operating in his zone of genius, he's speaking and creating his own words, his own unique things. And that's how he's been able to save so many marriages with his Don't Kill Your Date and other cooking tips talk. So that's a bit of a difference. Another one to give you another example for me, when I first started coaching, because I wasn't really valuing myself and I wanted to raise my prices back in 2017, in 2017, I started making $2,000 and then I wanted to see if I could get a $5,000 client. Well, I didn't yet believe in myself and my coaching ability to charge $5,000. So I added on extra things to the package to sweeten the pot a little bit. And I would design websites and I would coach my clients and I would design their website. Problem was I was designing their website all by myself. I didn't have a team back then. And I was designing their website and I would feel absolutely drained. And the website would be beautiful. The client would love it. It was gorgeous. And I would feel like my soul was sucked out of me because it was in my zone of excellence and my zone of competence, but it was not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is definitely in the creativity, in the challenging of a client to rise into their highest and best, and in the challenging of ideas and perceptions. So doing that thing that lights your soul on fire. Like I could be on a teaching, I could be on a training, I could be on a coaching call. I could be on doing that all day long. And I actually was Tuesday, because I don't coach on Wednesdays. On Tuesday, I was from 6 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, all day. I had little half-hour breaks in between my clients, and I had a 1 hour break, a 1.5 hour break to have lunch with my husband. All day, I was coaching. I was on fire still at 9 o'clock. I was like, let's go. Let's do this. Let's keep going. And that's how you know what your zone of genius is, because you will be more excited after more hours of doing it. Whereas in your zone of competence or your zone of excellence, you will be in that space of feeling drained or exhausted. So Solopreneur, number 12, solopreneur versus team. Five-figure entrepreneurs tend to be a one-man show. They're doing all the things all the time, all by themselves, and they're usually scared to delegate because of fear of losing control. Six-figure entrepreneurs are all about the teamwork. So they may have one or two employees or freelancers that they hire. They delegate that which is not in their zone of genius. They especially delegate that which is in their zone of competence. And they surround themselves with people who give them perspective. So they have a team of more than just their paid team members. They have a team of coaches, or they have a team of mentors, and they have a mastermind, or they have a membership that they're a part of. They have a community around them that is constantly and consistently lifting them up to higher and better heights. And number 13, this one's a big one. Five-figure entrepreneurs will pretty up the boat versus six-figure entrepreneurs. They choose to understand the waters. This is the greatest shift between 5 and 6 figures. And it will keep you from making a Titanic of a mistake. And we all love the movie Titanic. I mean, at least I do. I watch it like 300 times at least. But this was a mistake that I made, like the one of doing all the things with a vision board and the pictures and the fancy things and getting the equipment and getting the pretty videos and getting the pretty shots and all the nice editing and barely making anything. The photo shoots, the film equipment, the fancy websites, the rebranding coaches, the assistants, the logo designs, the expensive software, the equipment, and all the things that make a business look good when really it is headed for an iceberg right ahead. That is why it is imperative. This is why I saved the best for last, that you understand the waters. Five-figure entrepreneurs will typically invest in making the business and themselves look good. They invest time and money in rebranding, in branding coaches. Not saying that any of that is bad, but they're investing in things that are not necessarily the needle movers. They invest in fancy podcast equipment, and fancy is actually, one word, apparently. In social media experts, they invest in all of these things that make a business look really good, but really it's not moving the needle. Like, you can have beautiful Instagram photos all day long, but unless you're making sales, you're not moving the needle. Six-figure entrepreneurs invest in making the business be good. They invest the time and the money in expanding their perspective as to how they can make more sales, as to how they can serve more people. Like my client, Bundell. He had his first $10,000 a month after working with me. He says he recommends anyone dealing with their limits in their life or career to working with me. He was a multi-passionate as well. He was an actor and had a bachelor degree in the performing arts. And he bought into this like starving artist myth, and I didn't realize how he could use that as an asset. He just needed to understand the waters better. He needed to widen his perspective as to how he could use that acting background and the performance background as an asset for his business. Had his first $10,000 a month after working with me. Like Jessica, she closed $554,000 in sales and got engaged in that same year. And it's because she widened her perspective to look at the degrees of perfecting. So there were certain things within her own sales process that she was missing that she didn't see because she didn't know to not see them. And so when we worked together, we were able to find these little loopholes, these little things, these little open loops, as I call them, that she was doing that was actually preventing her from closing more sales more often. And so when we shifted those things, it transformed her sales to where she skyrocketed and hit $500,000. Kala as well. She was doing the solopreneur thing. She was doing it all by herself, and she was able to hire her first team member, and she shifted her business outlook from being just a sort of a gig by gig thing to being this long-term success of actual business. Her business was an event-based business, and she was able to successfully pivot, just like all my other clients. She was able to successfully pivot her business during this COVID pandemic to be able to offer online events to massive, massive success. just like Bonnie. So Bonnie was able to start speaking up for herself more because she was able to understand the waters of her relationships and how she was relating to others. And now she's a master trainer, like huge. And she was able to stand up more for herself and what she wanted in the past few months and in the past 52 years. So are you the next? Will you be the next success story? That's the big question. These are all my awesome clients from our awesome mastermind that we had back in February. Because the thing is that you can have the freedom to live your vision. You can have the freedom to do your life and to really go big and take it to the next level. I'm nothing special. Like, I am absolutely nothing special. Like, this is us in Melbourne back when we decided that we were going to stay in Australia. This is some of my awesome clients at the High Performance Experience, all my clients from my mastermind, and Decky and I, getting our high performance certification. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. It just requires having a process that you go through and having a plan and having someone to help guide you. So if you want to supersize this masterclass, like, I'm all about taking it to the next level. So let's do this. So the first option here is you can just take everything that I've told you and just file it away in a nice little box of #learn that, #tried that, try to figure it out on your own. Look at, how can I apply some of those principles? And you may apply, a bit of a percent of it. You may retain some of it. Or you can take option 2. You can take the red pill. You can see the matrix that you've been living in, the story that you've been living in, and how you can change your story from hard work and struggle into one of success, where you have a strategy, you have a plan, you increase your sales, you increase the number of people that you serve, and you get a team. You create a sellable process, and you get the perspective that you need to be able to see the icebergs. So if you would like, how would you like to grow your business 150% in the next 12 months? Let me know in the comments below if you're like, hell yes. And if you would like a royal kickstart to kickstart 2021 today. How we do this is we do this in the Queen Business Quickie. It is 90 days of coaching to kickstart 2021. We start out with you and me for 90 days of weekly coaching one-on-one. I take you through my signature Queen Bee system and the curriculum that will up level. Like, one of my clients doubled their her list size within 6 months of working with me. And this package is not even 6 months, it's 90. It's 90 days. It's 3 months of going all in. And she increased her sales. She's now at, I think, $800,000 worth of sales. Another one of my clients doubled his income by working with me. So you get 90 days of going through this curriculum that has proven results of working. And then you get your Build Your Dream Queen Team strategy session, because it's not, Jeff Bezos ain't solopreneur in it. He's got a team. If you want to grow your business beyond 5 figures, it requires having a team and having support. And it requires you having the right team and the right people in the right positions. And having it be demographically, not only demographically rich, but also personality and psychologically rich. So what I mean is there are certain personality types that are required and that do better in certain positions. So that's why it's best to have the right people in the right positions that align with the right mission and the right values. The key here is that you understand and have this, you will get the secret sauce that has taken me years to work through with my own team. And then once I built that out, I was able to successfully help my other clients build their teams. I think three of my clients have now hired 8 team members during COVID. So that means that 8 new jobs have been created because my clients' businesses are not only succeeding, they're thriving, and they are creating job opportunities. which is why we'll also dive into the scientifically validated method to increase your sales up to 300%. So you will be a super salesperson, and it won't be in a sleazy, yucky, ew, I don't really feel this kind of like this is gross kind of sales way. It's in a holy crap, this is aligned. I'm so excited. Let's do this. Let's align, let's win together. Let's win with a structure and a process and innovation, and just help us serve so many more people, because like every six-figure entrepreneur knows, the more and seven-figure, the more money you make, the more people you can serve. So you get one-on-one coaching with me every week, taking your mindset, your skill set, your systems, your branding, your marketing, your sales to the next level. You get a build your queen, you get me helping you build your queen team, structure it out using the bank personality sales methodology and using the strategy that I have found to attract my own soulmate team. I will walk you through the exact strategy, the exact process, personally, to look at both your existing team and who's a fit and who may actually not be, and how we can, like one of my clients, we were able to save her from months and months and months of having someone on her team who just was not a fit for her business. And this strategy helped save her so much money. So this is what took me from $15 from a product to six figures with a baby and no nanny, and now being able to live in the gold coach. This is the power of coaching. This is the power of transformative business coaching and high performance, of really taking your business, taking you as the leader of your business, because remember, it comes down to the leader being able to spot the icebergs, to transform. So how it works is you're going to register for a consult call, and I'm going to put that link right here in the chat box, right here. In the chat box? No, not in the chat box. Nope. So you're going to register for a consult call, and then, oops, let me go back. So you're going to register for a consult call. You're going to complete your intake form. This intake form alone has had many a client have many a breakthrough. So if after our call, I feel like you are a right fit for the Queen Bee Quickie program, this is my lowest tier program that is only for five-figure entrepreneurs. So this is how I want to support you in getting to six figures fast. We will start working with each other then very next week. After the consult call, we start work the next week. So there's no delays. This is an action-packed package that is only for action takers, period. So just imagine the freedom. Like, imagine the freedom that you can get when you're able to create a life and business on your terms that is producing income, doing the thing that you love, that is supporting you, supporting your family, so that you get to take your little assistant to the coffee shop to do a little work with you, or your other assistant to the coffee shop out to wine to work with you. I mean, this is how I've been able to come and to the Gold Coast and build, and because my business supported it, because I had already built a business, because I built the framework that supports this lifestyle. So what's it worth? So my Queen Bee Revolution series and sessions are normally $25,000. Because these are 30-minute sessions, it is a value of $12,000, and it's totally worth it, considering that most of my clients double their income within the first 3 months. So that's if you do the work, obviously, but most of my clients double their income. You get $6,000 that worth of value in a one-on-one intensive build your dream queen team strategy session. This is what has not only saved, this has saved my clients hundreds of thousands of dollars in hiring the wrong people. I can tell you, I was working with one of my clients. She was a 7-figure business owner. And for 10 years, she'd had an underperforming employee as her office manager for 10 years. And so we worked together. I helped her find and work through this process on who she needed, what kind of personality she needed for this job. And we were able to replace her office manager with someone fantastic who found the holes in her system. Within 2 weeks, found $5,000 of missing back income that had not been credited. So this already saved her that like $5,000 of back income that she just had not been able to collect. And this will save you so much in just being able to hire the right people for the right jobs. I mean, I know that I spent spent probably about $1,000 in hiring the wrong people for the wrong jobs. And it was definitely challenging to have to fire them. And it would have been so much easier had I known the system back in 2017 to be able to hire the right people. Fortunately, those experiences allowed me to figure out the right system that allowed me to hire my dream queen team of Cha and Joanna and Marie. And it has just been such a rockin' time, just having the rock stars work with me and help me grow this business. And then you get, for $750 of value, a relationship sales dynamics training where you learn the scientifically validated methodology that is scientifically validated to increase your sales up to 300% within 90 seconds. Within 90 seconds. This is a methodology that has been taught at Google, at Harvard, at UC Berkeley. I believe it also has been taught at the UN, and you will get this for just $750 worth of value. It is worth so much more than that. Plus, you'll also get 6 months membership to my Revolutionary Empire Builders. You'll get lifetime access to all 10 of my self-study courses. You'll get 1 ticket to my mentor, Brendon Burchard's Influencer in San Diego when we are allowed to gather again. It's one of my favorite things to do with my clients. And you will get a 2-hour congruence consult on your inner and outer expression in your business, plus 6 months membership to my Mindful Monarchs community and 1 bank sales page copy assessment, looking at your sales page copy and what kind of personality you are attracting to sell and selling to in your copy. Plus, as a special bonus, you get 24/7 Voxer voice messaging. So what? Yes. So I know, like, this is something that I wished I had with all of my coaches, but I did have it with one. And when I had it with that one coach, it was so transformative to know that I could just call her up or leave her a voice message, and she would not only pick up, but she would respond and help me and guide me through a little bit of coaching to just get that support so that I could move forward a lot faster, because sometimes our problems and our challenges don't wait until our next coaching session, even if it's a week away. Like, even if it's just a week away, sometimes we're in the midst of a crisis or a problem or a struggle or a frustration. We're trying to figure it out. It helps to have someone in your back pocket immediately when you're going through that. And so that's why you get 24-hour coaching whenever you need it right now when you jump in to this program. So this is so key, because when you are able to contact somebody and get that solution and start getting that perspective, you are able to dodge icebergs so much faster, getting you safely to the other side. And the value for that is $8,647. So the total value for this package is $31,969. This is normally what my private clients, my 6- and 7-figure private clients, pay me. Now, the thing is I know as a 5-figure entrepreneur, this can be what you've made in a year. So I know that is challenging at best. So that's why for this package, it is $3,900 for the Queen Bee Quickie package. And this is for my action takers only. But it's not even this much for today, because in order to get into this package, in order to get approved for this package, you don't have to drop that today. This is an application only package. So in order to get that value, you just have to register for a 90-minute consult. Super simple. All you got to do is register for a 90-minute consult today, right now. And so what happens is, on the call, you will get, and because I always love stacking value and adding even more value, you will get the Power Profit Plan to Scale. This is the only 3-part formula that will scale your business up to 150% in the next 12 months. I will give you that formula on this call. So you will also get 5 strategies to discover 5 new tools, systems, tweaks, and strategies that will triple your productivity and increase your sales on the call. You will get my Sell Like a Queen self-study course, so you can start scaling your sales right away. You will gain immediate lifetime access to this to help you scale to 5-figure months with ease. My promise to you is that when you book this call, whether we work together or not, you will walk away with at least 5 strategies. You will be able to have the exact plan to grow your business 150% in the next 12 months. And you get to keep my Sell Like a Queen course for life. And if I decide that after our consult call that you are a right fit for the Queen Bee Quickie package, then you will get your consult call free when you sign up for the Queen Bee. So what you get in the Queen Bee Quickie package is you get 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching. You get the clarity, the courage, the perspective you need to navigate around any icebergs. We build your Queen team in an intensive strategy session to create the support structure you need to scale and operate in 60% in your zone of genius, allowing others to work in their zone of genius while your team #handles the rest of it. You will learn how to get an increase up to 300% in your sales, learning the scientifically validated methodology that has been taught at Google, Harvard, and UC Berkeley. And you'll get 24/7 Voxer access to me so that you can contact me with any challenge, with any issue, with anything that is happening in the immediacy to be able to navigate and dodge those icebergs. All you got to do right now is register for the 90-minute call. So just go to crimeyourself.com/private coaching. I will put it in the box so that you will be able to contact right here. Let me add it into the Q&A. Actually, let me add it in chat. So all you need to do is just register for that private call. And that is all. So thank you so much. Please let me know if you have any questions. Let me check in the question box. Let me know if you have any questions. And if not, then all I got to say is thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your presence, for your participation, for you showing up, for you being a part of this. I mean, this has been such a glorious time working with you and having you here and sharing the space. I would love to know, to wrap this up, what did you love about this presentation? What did you love about this masterclass? What was your big aha? What was your big takeaway? Let me know in the chat box or in the Q&A if you have any questions. And other than that, as always, own your throne, mind your business, because